Hello, I'm James Helder and welcome to a special episode of the Pitch Football Show. We're looking at the relegated teams. Commiserations firstly, Joe. Hugely disappointing for Burnley as they were the third team to be relegated from the Premier Division. Firstly, can I ask your initial reaction to the final day of the season which saw Burnley relegated?
Yeah, obviously, initial reaction was just gutting. I just stayed at the turf for a little bit with my dad. It was a bit weird. They were like, normally me and my dad stay quite late anyway, to wait till it's a bit quieter, and then just go down the steps and stuff, not having to rush through crowds. But we just stayed there for a little bit longer. And it was a bit weird because there were loads of people there. Like normally everyone's gone by then, and there were loads of people just sitting there, just chilling and chatting. It was just a bit weird and a bit surreal, and not something I've ever experienced before. I've seen the club relegated before, but it was never on the last day like that. You know, we'd always been relegated long before, and I can tell you now, it's much better. Just get the relegation over and done with, please. Next time, Burnley, if it happens again. But yeah, other than Burnley, I've not digested any of the final day stuff. I've not seen any of the City goals, any of the City celebrations, any of the Liverpool Arsenal stuff. I've just stayed away from it for a little bit, to be honest. But yeah, initial reaction is gutted. A bit rough today as well because I went and drowned my sorrows last night. But other than that, yeah, I think ultimately we'll, the pain will start to wash away once we get a new manager sorted and some new contracts and new players.
Is it a numbness when you realise your team have been relegated from the Premier League?
Yeah,
with
yeah,
Burnley,
it is. It's
been such a huge part of your life.
Exactly. Yeah, it is. It's just, when Leeds went, I think they went 2-1 up, and we were 2-1 down. So I said to my dad, like, because at that one point we missed a chance, like a Gaza 96 style chance, where it just, I don't know if you've seen the highlights, that Vegas coming in with his foot, and it was just that far away. And at that point, if we'd have equalised, we'd have been safe because Leeds were drawing. And there were like 5 minutes left at this point, 8 minutes left when Leeds scored an our game. And it just immediately just a case of, okay, we need Brentford to score 2 now or us to score 2. So is that going to happen? No. So you just kind of, I immediately put the phone away then and just stopped checking stuff. I thought we're down now. We're not going to turn it round. So yeah, it was just a numbness to it and sort of like I said, just try and not digest anything. That's my thing. I'm not really I've been on Twitter and stuff because the first thing I did was lock my account because I knew I'd just be getting loads of abuse off some random fans or something. It's the first thing I did was lock my account, just to stay away from it all and not put myself through it. But yeah, numbness is probably the best way you can the best word for it, because that's exactly what I felt. I just felt that's it now, gone. Let's just try my best not to put myself through too much.
Were a lot of Burnley fans tearful in the stadium?
Not around me, no. There was one little boy in front of me actually, but it's only 5 or 6, maybe 7, 8. But about 7 or 8 to be fair. But apart from that, no. I think I've not, again, like I said, I've not seen any of the footage. I presume there's probably footage somewhere of some of them crying. But no. Having said that, I did see a mate at the pub and he had tears in his eyes. I mean, have you been crying? And he went, yeah. You're 34. But yeah, but other than that, there weren't as many as I thought there would have been. Like I said, just the kid and my mate. But my mate had a few beers. He left at 60th minute. Did my mate? When Newcastle were winning quite comfortably, he said, "I'm not putting myself through it." He completely detoxed himself away from it. Just left the game. But I did it a bit differently. Like I said, I just sat there and sort of like took it in and like, wow, this has actually happened.
Now we know Burnley will be competing in the Championship next season. What are the implications for the squad? What do you think is going to go on? Who's going to stay? Who's going to go? Who's going to fight for Burnley in the Championship? Who's going to look for a quick exit out of a sinking ship?
Yeah, well, I think 100% Tarkowski's gone. He was gone anyway. I think somebody like West Ham, Everton, maybe Newcastle will come in for him. Pope, I don't think he will like do that terminology, like force a move out or want to leave the sinking ship, as you put it. But I do think that, a good enough club will come in for him in the Premier League, potentially even a club competing in maybe for top 6, top 7. He is that good, isn't it, Pope? Same with Tarky. I think them two are Tarky definitely. Pope, I think 95% certain he'll go. But then my other worries is the captain, Ben Mee, hasn't signed a new contract yet. His contract's up. He has put a video up just about an hour ago, actually, sort of like reflecting on yesterday, saying how good to do it. I do think ultimately he'll stay, but we need to get that sorted. Jack Cork, thankfully, he's had a contract extension triggered by yesterday's appearance, so he's staying. But then you've got some other players, like I think Cornet will leave. I can't see Cornet staying, but
Cornet,
I'm not over.
Cornet wasn't 100% convinced he was signed on a long-term deal, lad, was he? I think he thought he was a loan signing.
No, that was some terrible. I don't know if you saw that on Twitter, but that was that terrible joke, weren't it? That terrible Michael Jackson joke. When you are not alone. That's where that came from, and everyone bought it. That similar thing to a Villa thing I've seen recently. Everyone bought it, and they were like, "Is that actually true?" And it weren't. It was just someone telling a terrible Michael Jackson joke that you are not alone. Obviously, titles to one of his songs, but he's got a 17.5 million release clause as Cornet, so someone's going to trigger that. Weghorst, there's rumours around that there's a gentleman's agreement that he's going to stay for at least a year. I'll be very surprised if that is the case.
Weghorst plying his trade in the Championship next season?
I can't see it. No, I think he's going to want to. He's left Wolfsburg and stuff. A decent side in the Bundesliga. I think I don't really follow the Bundesliga too much, if I'm being honest with you. But he plays for the Netherlands. He'll want to play in the best leagues. So I can see him potentially leaving. If this gentleman's agreement is true, then it's what's a gentleman's agreement worth? Absolutely nothing. If he just decides he wants to leave, he can just up and leave. So I wouldn't be shocked to see him leave. But then you've got your players like your Brownhills and your Taylors, and I think they are good enough to be in the Prem. It's whether or not somebody comes in, and if we need to sell, which the rumours are, with certain financial loans, we might need to do just that. So we'll see. Dwight McNeil as well. He's another one, but I honestly wouldn't be disappointed to see the back of him, Dwight McNeil. It's a bit of an unpopular opinion, but for me, he's just lazy and a bit it's just bad, not bad attitude, just lazy and never seems to want to work. But I do think he will suit a more attacking side better than us, though. I think we'll probably see him go somewhere like Fulham or Bournemouth and end up doing really well there. He just doesn't do a lot of the defensive work for me, and depending on what who the new manager is and the style of play that he brings, it might work at Burnley, but we'll see. I think that's the main thing now. It's not the players. We need to get the manager sorted this week, hopefully, and then the players will fall into place.
The Championship's one of the hardest leagues to get out of. It takes a very physical side and a very well-prepared team and manager to get through that. Would you be more inclined to get an experienced hand in at that level, or would you prefer a fresh face, a foreign manager from a different league to come in and put your stamp on things? What would you prefer, Joe, as a Burnley fan?
When I were in the Premier League, I wanted Company or Knutson. Now we're obviously in the Championship. I do think we need to sort of revisit that. Like you said, I would still take Company and I would still take Knutson. Do I think any of them are going to come to the Championship? Not a chance. Wayne Rooney, I didn't want him, but now we're in the Championship. I've been more inclined to actually have Wayne Rooney because he did okay at Derby. He's like you say, he's got experience in the Championship and obviously very good playing experience. But yeah, there's other people have been banded about as well, like Joey Barton, who I never wanted, but now we're in the Championship. Maybe, probably not, though. I still don't think he's done enough. Like I said, we're going to need somebody to come in who's experienced. Ideally, someone who's done it before, and go from there. But looking at the names we've been linked with, it's always been the likes of Knutson or Company. But again, who's the former Sheffield United manager? Now, but
I was just picturing Joey Barton cigaring Wout Weghorst.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It is. I've read his book, his autobiography from when he played for us, so I am aware of that story. But yeah, it'll be interesting. Joey Barton managing Wout Weghorst because he's not got the best attitude apparently, and neither does Joey. So that'd be interesting. But yeah, I think, like I said, he's not done enough for me. Maybe at managerial level now. He's been in League One and League Two, hasn't he? So maybe we take a chance on him. But I wouldn't be overly impressed. I want a big statement, but I think that statement could have been somebody if we'd have stayed up, someone like Company. But I'm not sure he'll want to come now.
Is it a worry when you look at teams that have dropped out and haven't instantly come back up? Like Sheffield United at the start of the season, if you ask me, I would have probably put them in the automatic promotion spaces along with Fulham. They've had quite a dire season. I know they made the playoffs in the end, but is it a worry for yourself, being a big club, a big scalp in the Championship, that teams are going to up their game a little bit, playing Burnley's one step away from playing a Premier League club?
Yeah, there's even Huddersfield and all their similar thing to Sheffield United. I think they both got relegated in the same year. They took a season to get used to it, and I think they were only in the Premier League for 2 seasons themselves. That we've been in there for 6 years. So it is a worry. And look, there's even bigger worries of your Sunderlands and your Derbys and stuff like that. I don't think we will drop again, but there's been some doom and gloom merchants saying that on Twitter. So it can happen. Do I think we'll do it? No, but if we can, like I said, if we can get the manager right and we can keep the spine of the team to a certain extent, like I said, I think Poppy and Tarky are gone, but if we keep the rest of them, then bringing 2 or 3 fresh faces for first teams and then some depth, I think we'll be all right. But
give me your
minute,
top 3 targets to get you out of the Championship next season. If you were had any say in the boardroom, who would you be edging towards?
We've been linked with, I don't know too much about him, but a lad called Twine. Is it Scott Twine? Again, I'll have to double check that. But honestly, I've not seen too many. I've not focused too much on that, to be honest. I think the main thing for us is getting the manager right, and then looking at signings, getting the manager right, and getting Ben the captain, because Ben Mee is our captain. We need him to stay. But in terms of actual targets, I don't really have any. I've seen we've been linked with some, but I think. Again, we've got the spine of a Premier League team there, so I would now want to add people, like you said earlier, about a manager, a fresh face, up and coming sort of player. I want hungry players coming in now. Get rid of the people that are lazy, get rid of the people that don't want to be here. That's fine, and then bring in some fresh face people that will fight for the club and try and get us back, because it's a slog, the Championship. A lot of people say, oh, it's a better league, it's more entertaining. There's so many local derbies in there, but it's not fun. It's you're playing Rotherham away on a Tuesday night. No disrespect to Rotherham, but we've been gone from playing Liverpool at Anfield on Sunday at 4:00 to standing in the rain at the New York Stadium in Rotherham. So it's going to be a long, hard slog.
Tell you what, I went to a lot of Premier League games and Championship games this season for pitch.
Yeah,
you can tell the difference in surroundings at certain grounds. Been to Millwall a lot this year, quite intense place.
Yeah, see, I'm not looking forward to that.
I never had any problems. I never saw any problems, but it's a big difference in atmosphere and a day out going to a Championship ground as it is to going to the likes of Liverpool and that.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't necessarily dislike it. I just know it's my favourite memories of Burnley Football Club are winning the Championship or being promoted from the playoffs in 2009. That's probably my favourite ever season. So if you do well in the league, then yeah, but that's every Burnley fan's memory of the Championship. It's walking it really easily. That's why everyone's like, oh well, it's going to be fun. Is it though? If we have a bad season, it's not going to be fun. I won't care. People say it's more entertaining. I'm not going to care that Luton are beating Norwich at Norwich when we're 17th. That don't bother me. I want to be winning games and winning the league again, and then progressing on in the Premier League, because what we've done is just gone backwards. So since we qualified for Europe, we've just gone backwards, and now it is a chance to rebuild and stuff. Yes, but like you said, you just mentioned it there. Huddersfield, Sheffield United, they haven't bounced back straight away. One of them will, well, not straight away, but one of them will eventually bounce back. But it could be we could be down there for 2-3 seasons maybe. You just don't know what's going to happen.
With the benefit of hindsight, was it wrong to get rid of Sean Dyche in the manner, in the way that he left the club?
At the time, I was disappointed that we let him go. And then I honestly believe we'd have been down already. We wouldn't have got it to the final day of the season for me if we didn't sack Dyche. We got it to the final day of the season because Jackson came in, drew at West Ham, then won 3 on the bounce. And that dragged. All right, ultimately, after that, we didn't get a point again. But we did away at Villa, but we didn't get a win again. But then now we're in the position that we're in the Championship. I probably feel better if Dyche was still here than now he isn't, if that makes sense. I agree. I would disagreed with it. Then we actually had a good upturn of forwards. So like, okay, fair enough. I can understand the players clearly weren't playing for him or whatever. But now we actually have gone down. I'd be like, well, I'd feel a bit more comfortable about a season in the Championship with a manager like Sean Dyche, who's done it twice before for us. But now, we're going to have to get somebody else in, because a few people saying they want to give it Jackson. Not for me. He's another one. He's not done enough. But
not done enough
need to make a big statement
to get the job next season.
No, he did okay, but ultimately he failed, and it's not even what he's done here. That he failed at Shrewsbury, he failed at Tranmere. These are very lower league clubs. League Two, I think they're both in. So we need someone with a bit more experience, like you said earlier. So a big statement one would have been perfect, but just someone with more experience. The perfect man for me, like I said, would have been Dyche. Now I'd be more comfortable with him here, but then it's weird. Like, it's a weird situation. Disappointed with him being sacked in the first place. Thought we'd made the right decision, but now we've gone down anyway. I kind of I'd be more comfortable with the season in the Championship with him here, basically.
I understand that. Listen, Joe, commiserations to you and Burnley and the rest of the fans and the city. I know how much football means to you boys. It's a way of life to the Burnley fans on your team, and I'm really gutted.
Yeah, it's such a big part of the community as well. It's a small town. Yeah, it's a small. It's only 70,000 people that live here. Do you know what I mean? It's the heart of the community. It does so much stuff. it's always been a thing in Burnley, not so much these days because of the rise of the Premier League, but if you're from Burnley, you tend to support Burnley. Obviously, there are cases where that isn't the case, but you won't see as many like Man United, Man City shirts, Liverpool shirts around Burnley than you do around most other places. But yeah, it's only a town of 70,000 people. You know what I mean? You can fit the entire population into Old Trafford. So we've been punching above our weight for quite a while, even though I hate that term. I hate that term so much. But but yeah, it means a lot to us all. And it's going to be a shame if the club, some of the financial things are true and do hit us hard, then it will be quite bad for the town as well, because the club does a lot in the town for the residents, for charities. So yeah, it's going to be tough. But the club come back. We've been here before, like I said, we went 23 undefeated in the Championship last season. Won at Ewood Park, won at Deepdale. You know what I mean? It was fun. I was gutted when we got relegated then, but we bounced back and it was fine. And I remember singing the Clarets are going up again at Deepdale, just winding them up, because obviously they've never been up. That we've been up a few times now. So fingers crossed that can happen again. But right now I'm just in sort of like a state of sort of like with emotion about it, and thinking we can just hopefully make some good managerial appointments. Well, a good managerial appointment and bring some good players in.
We'll be following Burnley's progress with the keen eye next season. Wish you the best of luck in the Championship. Commiserations for this year. And hopefully we get a chance to conduct some more videos after your smashing teams next season on the route.
Fingers crossed, mate.
Return. Thank you very much, Joe. Have yourself a good day, and we'll catch up soon. Thank you, mate.